Welcome to part 15 of the XC restoration, and as normal I'm having a cup of tea. This is very special tea because it's from Yorkshire, and I feel awful because this was sent to me from a gentleman in Britain who sent me a note with it, or gave me a note with it, and I've actually lost the note. I've been looking for the past couple of weeks for it. It was on my desk, I don't know what's happened to it, and so I couldn't thank him personally. But if you're watching this, sir, thank you very, very much. And he's gone out and he's spent £1.39 on this beautiful stuff. There's even little English countryside artwork on it, which I'm particularly pleased about. I've got about 6 of them left now. And £1.39 equates to roughly $1,000 on the Australian currency at the moment. So thanks again for that. That's really, really wonderful of you. Now you'll notice that in here, the trestle table's all gone. I've tidied up a little bit more room. There's no heater box here, there's no dash here, there's no steering column here because it's all in the car. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about what was involved in putting those parts in. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. But of course, while I'm standing in front of this little camera, I do want to say thank you very much to everyone, because now I looked on YouTube before and I've got 1 million views. 1 million. That's a lot of views. So, of course, I want to thank you. But probably, most importantly, I'd like to thank my wife and children. I've got a lot of friends whose wives probably wouldn't tolerate what I do. In terms of spending a lot of time doing this sort of stuff, and she never complains. She's not into the cars much, she's more a horsey girl, but she's always very supportive of what I do in here, and so I particularly want to acknowledge her and thank you very much, Suzanne. So that's wonderful. So I'm very happy about that, very happy with the car, very happy that people actually look at this stuff. It started as a joke. My daughter came out when I was doing a Wolseley. I just got a Wolseley, I think, and it was back in 2012, and she came out filming me because I'm always out here on and off, and played it back, and we sort of just joked about, should we stick it on YouTube, you know, and of course we're still doing it now. So what started off as a joke has actually turned into a bit of an interest, and I kind of enjoy it. I use this a lot of stress relief from work as well, so that's good too. So thanks again to you lot, and thanks again to Suzanne. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Getting ready to fabricate a bit of sort of firewall insulation here, cutting out little bits and pieces for the fan and that sort of stuff. And of course we'll use this stuff to glue onto the back of the, or to spray onto the back of the underlay, and of course we'll just use this stuff here to brush onto the firewall itself. The conventional spray-on sorts of adhesives tend to soak into these. This sort of comes out in a zigzaggy sort of rubbery pattern, and it sits on top, and it's really, really good for that. That's about $20 a canvas, so it's quite dear. And of course I've got a couple of disposable brushes, so I'll get into that soon. Other products, of course another cartridge of Domestic, and I bought this. You don't use house products in cars, but this is pretty good. This is like the self-adhesive foam strip that you would put around the door of a house. Good for sort of sticking around the vent pods that go up underneath the dashboard, that sort of thing. I'm not sure if you can get XC ones. You can get XW and XY ones. I've sort of stuck one on that car there, but this one will do for our XC. Gone through the wiring on the dash and very happy with it. What I didn't know is this power door lock loom is actually separate. It's all separate and sort of plugs in down here, so I'm not sure if you can use one on a standard Falcon 500 loom, but I'm not going to bother looking into that. But the thing is that this one's all looking really good now, so it's almost ready to go in. I have taken this out, this stupid switch, and that was soldered in. I haven't insulated this yet. That was soldered into the heater fan resistor because the heater fan switch was cactus. It doesn't move properly, so I've got another one of them coming. And so this is pretty much ready to go in the car. Once I've done the firewall insulation, put the vent pods up, I reckon we can put this in, plug it up and check out a few circuits. So it's all looking really, really good. So the only thing I've got to do is I've got to cap off that little tack wire, which on the standard Fairmont GXL is pink and blue or something, I think. I can't remember. This one's green, but it doesn't matter. There wasn't enough spare conductors in this plug here, or any of the others for that matter, to hide it in any of these two, so that'll have to be separate with a plug on it. There's no big deal. Other parts I bought, this steel wheel, this will do as a spare. It's got a really good tyre on it. it was 26 bucks, and I'm really happy with that. And the bloke I bought it from was in Blackburn. Now, I've really been grappling with this bonnet. I just don't want to use it. It's ripply, it's all over the shop, and it's got loads and loads of filler, and I can get my fingernail underneath it in these sorts of areas here and pick it off. I think, could be wrong, I reckon the car that this was on originally was in a fire, or had an underbonnet fire. It's just all over the place. And a lot of cars, apparently, when they catch fire, rust and corrosion is a big issue afterwards, and I reckon that might have been what happened to that. It is too rusty. I'm not interested in that on our car. So the bloke I bought the wheel from had this bonnet, and this was $585, and it is absolutely straight as an arrow. Now, all the places these normally rust, I'm running a magnet here and I'm pulling pretty hard on that, and it looks absolutely to be rust free. The frame on the other side is in beautiful condition. Looks like it's either got that 2-pack etch primer there. The high fill hasn't stuck too well to it, so that's all going to have to come off. But the point is, there's no corrosion that I can find anywhere on it. Even down these bottom corners, that sticks very hard. So I am really happy with it. I can't tell you how happy I am with that. It was on a car originally. I don't want to pull it out too far, but again, the only rust that's there is a tiny bit of surface rust. There have been adhesion problems with some of the paint down the bottom there, but that is absolutely no big deal. I can take that off and prepare this for the car. So that's a real win, and I reckon on any given day that's worth $1,000. People are asking $800-900 for these things, and they're really substandard. This one, the photos online of it, I bought it on eBay, didn't do it justice. I think he used a phone camera and the lighting wasn't very good in his garage, and it didn't show off exactly how good it was, but it seems to be as straight as an arrow. I'm more than happy with that. So that is a perfect bonnet. I've got 2 perfect guards, a perfect body. I think the rear doors are good. Once I've stripped them, I'll know more about that. The front doors have a little bit of rust. I can weld some patches in, but if I find better ones, I will. But at the end of the day, I'm a pretty happy camper. Now, I rifled through a scraps bin, and I got the little bit of aluminium round rod here, and I sort of just ran on a buff. I didn't even bother trying to buff it, but I just sort of ran it against there. I didn't sort of sand it or anything. And with that, I made 3 spacers. I'm going to take these little guys off. They're not cut particularly well, but at the end of the day, they are the same thickness as 3 standard 5/16 washers, which means I can drop them in behind here and you'll get a nice proper spaced arrangement. In this area here, there's a bit of ramping there where it comes up to a sort of an embossed part of the firewall. Don't forget, this is from an XB Falcon, not an XC. XCs are flat there, and I'll just chamfer the edge of one of those and that'll hold that there perfectly. So that's another one of the projects I've been doing. I haven't sort of filmed for a week or so, so I just thought I'd get a few things done and start making a bit of headway. So once the firewall installation's in, I will put this into the car. I will put the heater box in first. On the subject of heater boxes, I've bought another one that looks a lot cleaner than this one, and the thing that worried me a little bit about this was the fan had a crack in it, and of course the motor was a bit slow. We fixed up the motor in the last episode, but I've picked up a whole heater box with controls, the whole match, for $5. Like, that's all it was, and it was from the same gentleman in Pascoe Vale that had the Falcon 500 seats I bought for $10. So I've picked up those, or one of these, and a couple of Cleveland manifolds, because one of mine has a crack in it. They were, I think, $27 or something, really cheap. He advertised the stuff very cheaply, which is nice. I'm not using that core, and I'm hopeful that the core he has isn't sort of squeezed up and damaged like that. So if the one in that car, the $5 heater box I bought, is looking good, I can get it pressure tested and resurrect the heater box, put the heater box in, put the dash in, plug up some wires, check some circuits. It'll be the first time the car's had any life in it in God knows how many years, but then at least I know the integrity of some of these switches and wires. I can put in the cluster, speedo cable. I can sort of fit out the dash a little bit. There is a little bracket that goes down here, and I think I've got it here, I'm not sure. There was one on the ZH and I forgot to take it off at Jason's place. And all things considered, it's moving along very, very well. What are you having a Jason's ZF Fairlane? Oh, it's a Stillwell car. Oh, look at my knees. Yeah, you got a little Borgie in there. Got one of those too. XD wheels. So they're the wrong wheels. You've got the big centre wheel on the front.
Oh, okay.
With the small hub. Yeah, bloody hate gas. This is a stalker. Look at it. A Stromberg WW. So that problem you're having could be that.
Okay.
Because if it's not letting fuel get in.
Yeah. Ah, it's like a switch.
Yeah, it is. And so when you hit gas, that turns off, drains your fuel out. And then when you go for petrol, splutter because it starts coming in again, but yours isn't doing anything.
Power steering. Yeah.
Yeah, power steering. You've got a Sagnol pump with. Oh, you got the flexi fan. Good work. Yeah, they're good. They're worth money too. Hang on to that.
The I've been buying a few parts for it too, like
Oh, have you?
bumpers and spare bumpers.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
That's a pearl, mate. That's an awesome car. I love it. Have you? Oh, yeah, here.
Another steering wheel again in the other shed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about that. They've glassed it right up here.
Yeah.
So that's probably all gone.
Yeah.
And all these are standard 1/4 inch or whatever they are, 3/16 bolts, nuts. You've probably got a whole lot of them in the shed.
Yeah, I do.
It's all there though. Rebuilding that's a pain in the neck, but you can do it. I ended up having to put a patch in mine along here.
Yeah.
The top was alright. But
I mean, once you get everything out of it and all the paint off it, you know what you've got there, you know?
yeah. I don't know. It might be.
Found an old photo of an XB that I had. I took Ethan down to Flinders last weekend and sat in the car park there, and I said, over 30 years ago, I was sitting in exactly the same car park on the boot of my XB.
Oh, really?
And came home and found the photo.
Oh, really?
Had a long neck stubby between my legs. I had a long neck bottle of beer between my legs and a big mullet.
Oh, mullet. I had it for a day. They cut it.
Yeah.
I walked out, my sister laughed at me, and then I went straight back.
Straight back, cut it off.
Spider.
What sort of spider is it?
Again, we've got bad lighting. Here's a little Borgie. This is a disc brake Borgorner, which I'm going to use temporarily. I'm disappointed with this because it really isn't what I wanted. I wanted a 9-inch, but 9 inches is a huge bucks, and as I said, I've got a budget to adhere to. So this has all been cleaned up, taken the back off. It's a 308:1. So 3 flats standard for an XC351 and 275 I think for an automatic, but so it's the right ratio, but I don't know, it's not really great I guess, but it'll do. And the good thing is if I do spend some money on the calipers, I can use them on the 9-inch. Apparently they're the same. So they might not be, but if they're not, who cares? But it'll do for now, so that's all good. An untidy-ish looking rear bumper, which is the wrong one because it's a Fairlane LTD one. There's no cutout for the number plate. Now all 5.8 XCs had dual exhaust, and they're sort of folded under here. And a lot of people tend to just cut an archway, which I don't want to do. So I've got another bumper lined up, a proper XC one, and I'm looking for a smashed up dual exhaust one, which I can cut that out of and weld it in. And I have to have that spot on because you can't put filler on these. They have to go off to the chroma. They have to be spot on. So I reckon I can do it, but I need the other bumper I bought, which is a single one, and I need a smashed up dual one or a good dual one if I can find it. What else have I done? Heater box. Well, there's the old heater box. not using that. This is another heater box. I got the $5 one, and the core, which is here, is blocked and leaking somewhere. Yeah, there you can see that greeny coloured stuff. So I've ordered a new core. I want a brand new core. Got to clean this box up. It's just slightly better than the other one. It's a lot cleaner, but it's also a bit straighter. Again, the back section, people get these what is it, electroplated. Look, never going to see this again, so I didn't even bother. I've just given it a squirt of black paint on the back and a bit of deoxidine on the inside. That'll be fine. I'm not worried about that. And of course I've sent off another huge box to the platers, which I'm a little bit worried about because I got charged $65 and I reckon they might have made a mistake. I don't know what they're going to charge for this lot, but there's a lot there. Glove box off the Fairlane. The wood grain is just a piece of aluminium, but what's unique about these, well, not unique at all I should say, is it's just a Falcon 500 glove box. Now that's the marquee badge hole there, so what I can do is use a piece of cardboard over the whole thing and I can see where my GXL badge goes, because mine hasn't got that. It's a padded one. But why I've kept this is because it's a Falcon 500 glove box lid, so it's got that stippled finish. Now I can use parts of this, if I'm very accurate with my cutting on a bandsaw, to fix up underneath the clock where the fader and the electric antenna knob is. I don't know if I'm going to bother with a fader, and so I might have to use this for part of it. And it's exactly the right pattern and everything, so it's a good sort of donor piece of plastic with the right pattern on it. Later on in the week, I'm busy at work now, so I haven't got the time that I did have. I need to give this a good pressure wash, clean it all up, and of course once I've got that new core, I can put this in the car and then we can sort of look at putting the dash in. And of course I've taken all the seats now to Jason's, those frames I've modified, and also the front seats, and the only ones left are these ones. This is a $10 single driver's seat that I had, might be passenger, I'm not sure what it is, and one set of sheepskins, and I'll just drape them over there and use this as a mock-up seat in the car, because I want to ascertain how high the electric seat bases fit, because somebody told me that in a GXL they sit too high, and if that's the case I'll give them to Jason, and I'll use the manual runners. But I wanted that so that oh, dust on it. I wanted this so that I could at least sit in there and just check the position of the driving position and so forth before I commit to anything in terms of seat runners. Well, I'm a bit of an idiot, or at least I'm feeling a bit foolish, because I've painted this very roughly after throwing paint on it, and then realised that this is visible because the crash pad only comes to there. I thought the crash pad went right to the screen, and I've had a couple of XCs, but it was a long time ago and I don't remember. So there are imperfections in it, such as there, that all has to be rubbed out. It has to be nice and flat and painted satin. So I need to redo that, which is disconcerting because I've already sort of put the paint gun stuff away, so I have to get them out to redo that. But for now we'll look at the heater box. So of course we've started with this one, which is in really good condition underneath all that dirt, but I did manage to pick up a better one for $5. And of course here it is here, my $5 heater box. And the good thing about these XC heater boxes, they're very easy to get in good condition, because they're moulded plastic. They're not that fibre, that sort of pressed fibre stuff that the XYs and XWs are, which is the same stuff the Galaxy had. That looks dreadful. That's the backplate for it. But at the end of the day, it's never ever seen again. It's in very good condition. It's just painted with a bit of a rattle can enamel, so it doesn't really matter that much. And that isn't going to corrode. So, I mean, I'm not even worried about that. Now, as far as the core is concerned, this is the core out of this $5 heater box, and it's got blockages in it. Can we see that? I probably can't even see very well. It's got blockages, and the thing that put me off was it looks like it's got a leak down here, so that's no good. We can't use that. I did get a quote, I should say, which was between $130 and $230 to have it repaired, but it's much easier to buy a brand new one for the sum total of $150, and it is brand new, and it's also got a warranty. And this is online, and of course free postage, so $150 all up isn't a problem at all. And the other thing I want to talk about quickly, while we're on the subject of heater boxes, is the foam and that sort of stuff. Now this car, or these XCs, have rubber around the doors, around these doors here. And it's a bit of a paradox because all this seals quite well. I'm not actually sure, on a different subject, I'm not actually sure why they use a heater tap in these, because through here there's a hole there, and that's for your vent for your face, the centre vents in the dash. And so with this door closed, which is sealed very well, we've got air travelling down here, and it's not going to be able to get through to this side. There's going to be sort of a high pressure there, so it's going to run out. Now, with that door open, of course, cold air can get back to the vent again and pass through the heater core to get to the floor and the windscreen demister. That's what that flap is there. So that's the demister there, and that's, of course, it's the floor. So that's all controlled by that door there. But with this closed, I can't imagine why. I mean, all that would do, the heater tap's going to do, is just make the heater box a little bit cooler. But as far as air travelling through there, it's not going to really do much, I wouldn't have thought. But these are the gaskets off the XW's indicator lenses, front indicator lenses. And what it is basically is a frame for the gasket that's only a few millimetres around there, and you sort of break it and put the gasket in, but you're left with pieces like this. And it's the same with tail lights, that sort of stuff. So those sort of bits of foam I've had from the XW overhaul, or resto, and what we can do is we can sort of glue them there, trim them, and they'll seal nicely against there. Brush I used on the Firewall installation, and that was about a week ago, and it's been in the freezer. You can also use offcuts of the foam to do it, but I'm not going to use the spray stuff. I'm trying to hang on to that because it's about $20 a can. And you know, I'm not trying to be a miser or anything, but if I can avoid spending too much on consumables, I certainly will. So there's, I'm just brushing a little bit on there. It looks a bit manky and all the rest of it, but it doesn't really matter that much. And here's the second bit. And so it just means that we can seal this heater box up nicely. And this is a very budget, and don't forget, you know, don't be too harsh on me. This is a budget build. I'm not intending to spend stupid amounts of money on a car that I just want to go out and enjoy and not sort of worry about, if you know what I mean. So I'll just put a bit there. Hopefully when we turn the heater on, it heats up, doesn't smell too much, but I don't know, if it does, we'll just turn the heater off, I guess. There might be a more intelligent way of doing it. There we go, we'll just let that set. And then we'll start preparing it to stick in the box. Alright, so we can just get these things now, put them on here, like that. Wrap them round and just trim off the excess, and do the same on this side here. And in reality, that adhesive is just going to dry out, so it'll be odorless anyway. I can get some scissors and cut them out. And we can't put, oh nice, I've just wrecked it. We can't put anything too thick down the bottom because it bolsters the heater core up too much, and then the back won't fit on properly. And I had that trouble with the XW. That foam that we're using on, this is impossible, this stuff. That foam we're using on the sides is very dense, so it does work well, but it might be a little bit thick to stick down the bottom. This is horrendous. Whereas this stuff I've got now is very compressible. It's very soft. So I'm just going to put a strip of that down the bottom just to stop any air escaping, and that will compress right down to nothing, if you know what I mean. So then we can get our core and just stick it in, so to speak, and that should seal beautifully, which it does. Isn't that nice? So, gee, it is quite stiff though. There we go. Oh. Now that's stiff as a board. That's cool. And all we're really trying to do is just stopping any sort of fore and aft movement. I might even trim that back a little bit there, but I'll try or fit the lid on now just to see what it's like. Okay, so I've got that on. These are a bit fiddly because I've got to put these two flap sort of axles in, but that fits well, so I can take that off. And I might even be able to just put a strip of the other stuff in there, so that would be quite good if I can. XW taillights. Might be able to. Is that going to reach? That might be alright. We'll just try that. Can't come to any harm. And this is just a mastic sealer. This is great for, I used it on the XW underneath the fuel tank, where the fuel tank seals against the body of the car. You can use it around taillights, things like that. You wouldn't use it around a windshield because that's more an adhesive sealer, like a urethane. I'm not using a fitting kit in this car for the windshield, I'm just having it glued in with urethane. This is where things get really ugly and really messy, which is why I put a pair of gloves on. I've just got to try and get this on without it getting all over me. It is easy to clean off though, so I'm just going to try and wiggle these doors without having to put my hand in, so I'll just go away and I'll struggle with that for a minute. There we go. So we'll just flick him around now, and basically it's just a case of just putting these clips back on now. These ones here that I painted, which is pretty dodgy. Which I will do it from the other side. And we can just sort of tap them into position like that. You can use a small soft blow hammer, which will probably yield a better result than using your fingers, but we can sort of begin to get them on. With this sort of thing, it's probably better to sort of alternate side to side as you put them on, because then you're not going to run the risk, that's hard to get on, then you're not going to run the risk of sort of having it buckled or whatever. And so we've got a wider part on the bottom there, the narrow and wide. The wide bit goes toward the plastic, and that'll ramp itself up there as you put it on. I might just stick my finger in there and hit it again. There we go, that's much better. So same here. And as I said before, I'd much sooner have these anodized, or what do you call it, electroplated. It'll just look a lot better. But 99% of this heater box is never going to be seen again. Or at least that's what we hope, because if it is seen again, it means there's something gone wrong and I'll be quite cross. I guess one of the more important things to do before you go too much further is just ensure the fan rotates nice and smoothly. Of course, this just uses a little plug in there to locate that. And so there you have it, a hole in a piece of newspaper, masked up all around there, giving that a paint job with $3 Relocan rubbish. And you know what, I just wanted to show you some of this stuff. People get carried away restoring cars, I reckon. This is going to be adequate, it's going to be fine, it's going to do everything I want it to do, and it really doesn't matter. So as long as it works and it's functional and all these doors are operating properly and the fan works and all this sort of stuff, we're good to go. Now I did go down to Burston in Ringwood, and that place is managed by my good friend Matt Treadray, who I used to teach quite a few years ago. But anyway, I went and saw him and I bought a few bits and pieces, and of course one of them is this little single connector, and that's going to be fine for the tack feed, which will sit next to the other block connectors, so at least we can sort of connect it and disconnect it if we need to. And of course these grommets, now these are not very XC Falcon, they're very square grommet, but the back of them is nice and rounded, so I'm going to take the centre out to go over those heater tubes that have come through the Firewall, and there should be a nice round black sort of rubber grommet around it, which will look quite nice, and also serve a purpose of not sort of chafing as the Firewall and that sort of thing. I've just got gloves on in case there's any more of that. There's always one that doesn't want to play. Just can't get in. Right, so that's all in now. So I can put the vent on, all that sort of stuff. I think I've routed this incorrectly. I think it's supposed to come out through the top, and there's also a grommet, or a thing for the heater cable to go through. But for now, that side's done. I've also got the little blanking grommets to go over those, just to stop any foreign matter getting in, so I'll do that as well when I find them up there, so I don't know what they are. But I'll take this off now and put those spaces in that I made for it. Like, the lighting on the camera, I'm just having a look at this beautiful MGC next to a 68 GT Mustang. You've got two GTs now. Yeah. An MGC GT and a Mustang GT. This is a Scorcher distributor. Scorcher, yeah, well it's probably, just whip the cap off and see if it's electronic. All leather upholstery and What's unusual about this is it's a 6-cylinder. Oh yeah, you can just...
Yeah, no, my fingers aren't strong enough.
Ah, bullshit. Hang on. You just need to flick that over. Yeah, you got points.
Yeah. I'll get a Petronics or something in it.
Yeah, they're always good, aren't they? Oops. Yeah, you've got to be pretty happy with this. Do you want me to get it back on?
I've got one on.
Love the car. It's a nice car, isn't it? So cool. Yeah, now that surface rust there will be leaking. That's why I pulled all mine apart and redid it. Because they leak. And the ones I put in, they're non-genuine. The ones I put in, they don't leak at all.
So there's another one over. It's been sort of undercoated over there.
Yeah, they go in those and also inside the guards. But they're it's a nice example though. It's a good example. They're a nice shape, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, this is actually designed back in a Farina.
Oh, is it? It's a Farina car. So cool. Now I can't put any more in the car until like the dash and that sort of thing until I fit this manifold. This it's a defroster manifold that goes from the heater box up to the windscreen, and this is off the air conditioned box, and it's more on a sort of a pronounced angle here to sort of allow for the bigger heater box. But this doesn't fit the non-air conditioned car. Now I should be putting air conditioning back in this, and I've got all the interior stuff, the ducting and that sort of stuff. I'll show you that later. The wiring, the heater controls, all that sort of stuff. But I didn't want it cluttering up the engine bay. Now the one I had for my $5 heater box is this one. You can see it's on far less of an angle. The heater box is much smaller, but this had cracks. You can see it along there. And the problem with this was, I stuck my finger through all this. It's actually sort of UV damaged, I think. You can see it all sort of falls apart in this area here. Now rather than sort of repairing that, I wanted to put a replacement in. I mean, it's toast. You can see it's had it. So I wanted to put a new one in, and thankfully Ray had one. And it's here. But we have to clean this up. It's got lots of, hopefully you can see this. Maybe the light's not good. I'll just turn it around. You can see here, there's lots of scaly nonsense, and it's actually just all paint. And so that will all come off to divulge a lovely plastic fitting. So in some sort of odd way, perhaps that paint that's there's a whole lot around here, has actually protected it. Look at this, a big chunk of it. So someone's left their heater in while they've painted the top of their dash. So we'll take all this foam off. I bought some grey self-adhesive foam to so it's sort of hidden a bit better under the dash. If there's white, you'll probably see it through there. So we'll give that a clean up and we'll put that in, I think. And you can just get a blade and take all this crud off, and it leaves you with a nice sort of surface underneath. It's not even a sharp blade. And we'll put some new self-adhesive foam on, and we should be good. And it all wipes off. I might just get a little bit thinner and try and remove where it says XC, because anyone looking under the dash, the first thing they'll see, it's a dead giveaway that this car's made out of bits from a wrecker. Sort of. And I've just bought the grey door seal stuff, and I'll just measure it out and cut it. And it's super sticky, this stuff. And the other thing it'll do is it really compresses down, so it'll compress and seal really well. So I'll put this all around these and around the bottom as well. That's still a bit dirty there. So we're just putting these bits on the bottom here. Sorry, I'm just going to stop and look at the XW. Okay, we're good. There we go. And this stuff's $4.95 a roll, not a very long roll, and I just got it at the local hardware. We always say the local hardware, I don't want to mention the company's name, but you know what I mean. The great big, huge, massive local hardware in Bayswater and every other suburb in Melbourne. But anyway, there we go. Now that'll seal against the heater box, and here it's sealing against the screen, so we should be good to put that in now. Like any job, you want to finish it off properly and just put the proper clips and stuff in. If I can get that in. There we go. And that'll sort of hold it all in alignment so it doesn't leak any air. Well, I've got that in. I've just got a bit of tie wire down there, just sort of holding it up for now. That's sort of, I think it's got to go a little bit higher. It'll sort of sit a little bit high like that, but that's cool at the moment. So the next thing I've got to do is put this fresh air vent in just here. And then this sort of side's done for now. The cables I have to put in after the dash is in. And of course I've got to route the bonnet cable. I'm going to turn that around a bit. Route the bonnet cable through the firewall with a new grommet. Because it's impossible to get behind that vent, so we'll do that next as well. This is looking a bit weak. I'm not all that happy with this. I'll let it brew a little bit longer. Alright, so I've got everything in here. I've got the vent pods in, and the air box, and also that centre vent there. The gasket, the foam gasket behind there is actually the inner part of the XW's one. You know, you peel off the outer part, put it in the XW, and you lift that bit, and that I've sort of cut out the inside and used it there because it's a smaller aperture on the XC than what the XW is. Got the crawling around here. That's just sitting there. That bit of underlay that's got to come off. Got this side on. That's all looking pretty good, and the bonnet cable is in and sort of snaked in behind there. So that's all good. So we're now ready, I think, to start putting the dash in. Now, I've left out this support here. That sort of fits in there. And I'm going to get that in after the dash because I think it's going to get in the way. Now, on here, there's these little ledges there, and there's another one over there. And they are the things that support the dash. So I'm going to sort of stick it on there, then I'm going to plug it up here and just put these bolts in across the top, so it should be alright. The other thing I've got to do before I put the dash in, just give it a bit of a clean up. An old toothbrush is great for this sort of thing, and a bit of compressed air. And of course, one thing you'll notice is this is surface rusted, this frame, and there's an important reason why I haven't taken that off, and that's because these dash plastics, so to speak, are very, very brittle. You know, so I don't want to jeopardise it or crack it any further. There is a little bit of cracking on it. So I'd sooner sort of live with the notion that that's got a bit of surface rust, which doesn't matter at all. It's not a big deal. It just doesn't look all that tidy, I guess. But though we never painted from factory, and so it's not really that big of a deal. So I'll go around and I'll clean all this up. A few things we've got to do before we hang it. We've got to put our little single plug on for our tack feed, and that'll just stay with those connectors there, which is cool. And also there is little bits of wiring like this that's chafed. Now the wiring's not affected at all, it's just the tape, and that's been tucked in there and sort of rubbed on that edge there, so I've got to do that. And the other thing, of course, that I need to do is take off these vent pods here. The centre one's screwed in from behind, these are screwed in from the front, so I'll take them off before I put the dash in, just so I can sort of see how it all goes together. So I'll keep busy with this. I'll give it a bit more of a clean up and we'll revisit it. crimp this terminal on. The glasses and stronger ones. And back in the 80s, everything was Scotch locked, but well, no. But now I much prefer soldered joints. It's just better. It's more reliable. Perfect. Excellent. And we can just plug him. Right, we've got this all sorted now. Everything's labelled, so I reckon we're ready to go in. That's the tack feed, which is separate, which we've just talked about. These wires here are all clipped and looking good. So, I'm just going to keep that for inside the car. That's the female version of that. And I can wire that in later. So we're good to go. We've just got to turn around and clean it up. It's quite long. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is put it up on that perch. Okay. But I don't know. I've never taken one of these out or put one in, so I'm not the foggiest what I'm doing.
That's good. That's good future.
Although,
I feel like I'm going to trip.
just be careful. Oh, hang on, is it the speedo cable? Where's that speedo cable? I think that's got something to do with this.
Please, am I going to get pinched?
No.
Not for me to get pinched.
No, but oh, there it is. Hang on, no, we're good. We're good. I'm not worried about that. I can just sit there like that. Now, what the problem is I need it to go in, but it's not. I didn't jack it up properly. Okay, so it's sitting up on there, which is cool.
I really want to use that aircon.
But for some unknown reason, it's sitting out of the back, and I'm not sure why. It just won't. Once I get a couple of bolts in, we're good. But it's not. It's fouling.
You mean failing?
Why is it fouling, and what is it fouling on? Ah, shit. That's it. Oh no. Hold on.
I don't like when the car's getting dark.
What the hell? Does it go under? No, it doesn't go under there. Well, what? I don't understand why it's... Just putting this dash in, sort of tightening these top bits. Got to give it a bit of a clean. Just bear in mind with these bolts up here are 1/4 inch coarse, and the two big ones that go down the bottom up through here are 8 by 1.25. They're metric. So the dash is held in by Imperial and metric. There's another one on this brace in here which is hellish to get to. It's sort of under there, and there's a 5/16 course that goes up into the steering column support. So there's a real mixed bag of fasteners that go into these cars just in the one location. Nice and sturdy now. Hiya. Oh, there she goes. So it's really, it's all mounted. I've just got to get that 1/4 inch bolt down there, but it's rock solid. It's good. So, pressing on. So this was the fan wiring that was initially sort of chopped into. So the idea of this is to sort of make it a bit more presentable and whoops, just test all the circuits so that we know without any shadow of doubt what's going to work and what's not. Hopefully it all does. I've got a tuck behind there. That's the glove box and map light that goes up here, so it's all got to be rerouted. That's the cigarette lighter. So I've been threading courtesy lights, and there's power antenna. I'm not sure if I'll use that, but all that has to be sort of strapped up there so it's out the way, it doesn't hang down. I'm going to call it quits now because it's quite late, and I'll come back out tomorrow. But so far, she's looking really good. Now, in an earlier chapter, I sort of put this steering column together here for the car, but since then I've decided to go with this one out of the ZH Fairlane. Of course, The switch gear needs to be changed, the combination switch, and the steering wheel. But I'm going to put it in temporarily. The steering box isn't in yet, but I want to put it in so I can plug all this up and test it. But unfortunately today's Sunday, I want to wind this video up because it's going to be about 50 minutes long, so maybe even an hour. So I'm not going to test wiring in this chapter. It'll have to be next one. Now these are the pieces that sort of fit around the bottom, and I've scribed a little, a couple of little witness marks there. So I can put these back exactly how I found them, which is sort of like that. And of course that one goes on as well, and we've got this little clamp here. Then afterwards I've got to put this new rubber on because the other one was shot. So the other thing I'm not happy about is I've only got one of these screws that's been plated. These ones look a bit mangy and manky and all the rest of it, but it doesn't matter because I've got more of these coming on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever that second lot of plating's been finished. So for now it doesn't matter if I use these ones because I'll change them out when they come back, but I'll put this one in the most difficult place to get to so I don't have to remove it again. I think this sort of hooks over. Now it may need some sort of adjustment, I'm not sure, but at the end of the day that can all be sort of tackled later. So we'll just put this in right where it was, which is, oh no, it's back this way a bit. It's there, I think. I can't remember. Oh well, we'll do it here. I can't remember which side of that I scribed. That can just stay like that. Gosh, I think it goes like that. But anyway, whatever the case, I've got to put it on the ground. Like that. And work that gasket over the top. So I've just given it a very rudimentary clean. I'm going to put it in complete with all the shrouding and all that sort of stuff, and then later on take that off and clean underneath that. I'm not going to do it on the bench because I don't want to break anything. And so we'll just wiggle this thing over. And it's really quite stiff rubber. It has to be, have I got the right, oh no, it is the right way, that's cool. So I might just put a bit of mass around there just to help it sort of bed, if you know what I mean. So let's get some of that and just go around the very base just there. Good idea with Vaseline just to wipe it off. It has a very, very low boiling point. And sort of anything in more than mild weather and it'll just liquefy and fall. So we can hopefully push that down over. It's frustrating. Oh, come on. It needs to be a good, there we go. It needs to be a good firm seal because we don't need wind or, you know, foreign crap getting through there. Just got to turn that around a bit. There we go. And that'll seal beautifully against the firewall, so we can pick this up now and chuck it in the car. This will be sheer fluke if this goes in first up with no drama. So I just want to hang it for now. Oh, I can't reach. Hang on, where's that one? Here we go. Sometimes you just use lots of extensions to reach those places that are difficult to get to. Oops, I'm slipping because I'm talking, I'm not concentrating. You can see, it just makes life a bit easier. Clever me, I've made these too small, so I've got to cut some more of those. There, the grommets there. They're nice rounded sort of appearance. They look really good. Period wise, they're sort of put in from the back, so that looks really good. And of course I've got these little blanks I used on the engine stand. And just to stop any muck getting in to the heater coil before I plumb it all, I can just put them over there, so that's all good. Well, that's all I've got time for now. We're going to be nudging about an hour on this. So we've got most of the electricals all in, roughed in, the heater controls are roughed in. It is a mess at the moment, but I was, or at least I did intend to power up some circuits in this chapter, but I'm not going to have time to do it now. Charlie's here saying hello. Hi, Charlie. Not talkative? Okay. So we'll leave it there, and I'll be able to download another one or upload another one reasonably soon. This steering wheel's had it. It's only a temporary thing. You can see how they spin. Completely unroadworthy and all perished as well. So that's just there temporarily. As is the ignition switch, and the key just falls out. But that doesn't matter. It will work for the purpose of testing. So we're good with that. So until the next time, enjoy your classic, drive safely, and I'll see you later. Ta-da!